Well, hello, and welcome to this short presentation on demonstrator testing the Nature Smart Cities business model. I'm Phil Back. Until quite recently, I was a researcher with Imperial College London, who are partners in the Nature Smart Cities INTERREG project, and I'm now contracted to the project as a consultant specifically to complete the testing of the business model that we're developing. So a quick overview of Nature Smart Cities. It's an INTERREG 2Cs project that delivers research that has informed this project, but which also has application to other green infrastructure projects in smaller cities. That's now available on the Nature Smart Cities website, and it's a report called Getting More Green. INTERREG 2C's Nature Smart Cities is also delivering 7 pilot green infrastructure projects in Belgium, the Netherlands, France, and the UK. And next year, there'll be a capacity building program to raise the capability of officers and decision makers in smaller cities to raise their capability in relation to green infrastructure. But the area that I'm focusing on today is the production of a business model that will help support green infrastructure delivery. And it'll do this by helping to make a stronger case for GI projects in smaller cities. The business model is a new tool. It's being developed by the Universities of Antwerp and Ghent, but it's different from the many tools that have been developed by academics and that are largely unused by practitioners, especially in smaller cities. Like the other tools, it's complex, but our tool has the complexity concealed inside a comprehensive spreadsheet. It's all there if you want to have a look at it, but you don't have to understand how it all works to make it work for you. It uses publicly available, peer-reviewed data on different ecosystem services linked to the characteristics of your specific green infrastructure project. So as far as you're concerned, you'll see a spreadsheet, but behind that spreadsheet lies a complex, peer-reviewed algorithm that does all the hard work. There's also step-by-step guidance to help you use the business model and to guide you on the different stages that you have to go through. And we want the business model to meet the key criteria that emerged from our research, which were that the tool should be usable by practitioners, comprehensive in covering all the possible ecosystem services that a project might generate, and credible. It produces output that you have confidence in and that you're confident putting in front of a decision maker. And those key criteria are absolutely critical to the success. If we don't achieve that, we've missed the bus. Let me just show you the output that the business model will generate. This is still in a draft stage, but you can see that, first of all, it looks very professional. We think that's an important part of credibility. It looks as if, it looks the part, it looks as if it's going to tell you information that you can rely on. But more than that, the content is also very professionally displayed. So, for instance, we have text and charts talking about comparable costs. In this case, comparing a green choice with the status quo. In this instance, the green actually costs more than the existing infrastructure, but the fact sheet will also demonstrate what you get for that money. So here's a comparison between the green and the grey alternative that might be considered for this project, which is actually about flood resilience. But you can see that alongside flood resilience, it also provides ecosystem services in terms of microclimate, carbon sequestration, biodiversity, awareness raising, and aesthetic appreciation. So there's quite a lot going on in what might have appeared to be just a simple flood alleviation project. And the business model also produces diagrams that we hope illustrate these points. So here's one based on the 6 ecosystem services that the user has chosen, and it shows diagrammatically the difference between the status quo, the dark blue hexagon at the middle of the diagram, the grey scenario, which is the dark blue line in the middle of the diagram, and the green scenario. So you can see that this project makes a marked improvement across almost all of the ecosystem services under examination. In fact, it's only in relation to the water runoff that the green scenario and the grey scenario achieve more or less the same things. Elsewhere, the green scenario produces a much greater level of benefit. So what's the opportunity that we're presenting here? Well, our business model is still in draft form. We're now entering the test phase. We've already tested it and refined it using our own pilot projects being developed under Nature Smart Cities. But now we need independent test projects. And we want ideally to get one each in each of the 4 Nature Smart Cities countries. So we're inviting you to consider whether you'd like your municipality to be a test authority in this next phase. You'll want to know, of course, what's involved. Well, first of all, you'll need to be willing to do some preparation, but we'll guide you on what you need once we know a bit more about your project. And we'll try and make sure that that preparation is reasonably straightforward. Again, we want the business model to do the work rather than you having to do it all yourself. You'll need to set aside some time to meet me, COVID permitting, of course, and to run the test project through the system. As you do that, I want to watch you at work. I want to make notes as you progress, or perhaps get stuck, and where necessary, I'll help you forward. At the end, I'll want you to review the output with me and tell me what you make of it and how you interpret it. And I'll want to get your feedback more generally by you answering some questions about your experience of using the model. A very important dimension of this, you're testing our model. We're not testing your ability. We're not testing your authority. So how are we going to select participants for this test opportunity? Well, we have a few criteria that you must meet, but mostly these are in case we have more applicants than we can actually handle. You must be in the 2Cs area because our funding is limited to that area, and there's a map of that area available on the project website. Ideally, you'd be in a city with less than 500,000 population, because our business model is targeting smaller cities, cities with lower levels of resource, cities with lower capacity, and with fewer specialists. We want to look at a project that's already at a preparatory stage, not one that you've finished, and not one that is simply an idea at the germination stage, but something that you've got fairly firm ideas about what you're trying to achieve, but where you're willing to look again and to refine the project or to accumulate more information for the business case that you want to make for this project before you seek approval for it. And because my language abilities are limited, you need to be able to work in English or to work with an interpreter. And I have to apologize for that. We will have an interpreter available in the Zeeland area of Holland, but beyond that, some English will be necessary. What will you get from it? Well, in the first place, we hope you'll get an output document that will help you to make the case for your project with your decision makers. But you'll also get first-hand experience of using a new tool that's intended for cities and projects like yours, and of course, a chance to contribute to that tool's development and refinement. I mentioned that in 2022, we'll be running some capacity building events, and you will get a chance to participate in those, either as a case study or perhaps in person, speaking about your experience in using the tool. And we hope that that will generate positive international publicity for your city and for your work on green infrastructure. But the benefits aren't all just one way. We get something out of it as well. We become aware of challenges that our business model isn't addressing properly and the chance to put those right. We can adapt the business model to meet the challenges that your project has thrown at it and where it may have been found wanting. We can develop case studies, anonymized if necessary, although you may not want to be anonymized, based on your project and your experience. In essence, we can prove the concept of our business model and justify its wider application in smaller cities. So if you're interested in this opportunity, there are chances to find out more. You can go to the Nature Smart Cities website, where there's a page that discusses this and that will tell you, answer some of your questions. Or you can email me at the address on screen now, and I'll send you some literature that again will explain more and tell you how you can put your city and your project forward to be a test project for us. And remember, you're not committing at this point to taking part. You're only committing to just finding out more. So there's no risk for you in pursuing either of these options. Well, thanks very much for listening to this presentation. I hope I've got you interested, at least, in the possibilities of the business model, and I'll look forward to either your presence on our website or an email from you asking me for more information. Thanks very much.